What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, you guys saw my first two, or my last two videos, should I say, when I'm speaking on Floyd Mayweather and Roy Jones Jr., when I'm making these breakdowns and bringing awareness to what, how things are, actually happening versus the the complete opposite. Opinions are opinions. And I watched these two guys' video one day, and I remember they were just talking. And clearly they don't like Floyd as a fighter. They were just trying to this Floyd, that, Floyd in this, Floyd. And the more I listen to them, I'm realizing, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Their whole video was just nothing but opinions about who could beat who and what Roy was and who Roy, and I'm listening to them. Like I said, I don't go on people's channels to debate them or argue with them about them. I'm not into that goofy nonsense. But there's so many things, so many elementary things that they didn't even bring up or acknowledge because either they forgot, and in their case, being that they were being biased, more like they just wasn't aware of, or they wanted to just ignore it regardless because, when I look at Roy Jones and I look at Floyd Mayweather, it's like comparing Michael Jordan to Dr. J. Somewhat. Because Michael Jordan he's actually more flashy than Dr. J was. But Doc could dunk, do all that. Doc was that guy at one point. But Michael Jordan came along and Mike was just different. And to this day, I haven't seen a player that I feel like is better than Michael Jordan or more skilled than Michael Jordan. But looking at the both of them, I could see where, everybody, people play and have their own style of playing. And they're effective in their own way. But when you watch a basketball player, just say, for example, they're great at 7 out of 10 things. And then all of a sudden they become great at all 10 things. You understand what I mean? And the person that they're compared to is great out of 6 or 7 things out of 10. And this person is great out of all 10. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you can see the comparisons, but at the same time, you could also see where one guy just clearly was just better than the other guy. Now, this all being said, right? The things I covered in the first two videos, because I wasn't going to do a follow-up, but then I started thinking about some other stuff. And then I started thinking about some more stuff after I did the second video. Or while I was doing that. And I said, let me just break it down so I can make 3. Why not? So let's look at this. I'm calling this one the 50 and 0 effect. Because let me show you something. Now, you never hear Floyd do interviews and just bring up Roy Jones. He's giving Roy Jones his credit as a fighter and stuff like that. And he's also said that, Floyd feel like that style that Roy has, which most people feel that way. It's like when the reflexes, the hand speed, all this stuff is not the same. The actual boxing skills and the experience that you have through the boxing skills is not there because you relied strictly on athleticism. Right? The hand speed, and like I said, Roy did have a solid ring IQ. Roy was a solid boxer. He's a boxer puncher. Floyd is a pure boxer. One of the differences. Let's look at, for example, when Roy fought everybody pretty much, but when he fought Bernard Hopkins in the second fight, what did he say? He's telling you might have a chance if you can handle the speed, but you couldn't handle the speed the first time, you ain't gonna handle it now. Now, mind you, when they fought, Roy was 41, Bernard was 46 or something like that when they fought the second time. And Bernard had more left in the tank than Roy did in terms of overall ability. So, and Roy still had them lightning fast hands, but the timing wasn't the same. He couldn't get on his legs and use his legs like he used to. And this was a fight where, you would think Roy had enough to beat Bernard. But then if you saw him fight Tarver, if you saw him fight against Glenn Johnson, which all those fights was before the Hopkins fight, then you knew Roy was done. You see what I'm saying? And the fact that the fight even went the distance. And Bernard says, Roy came to fight tonight. Listen, Roy was done. My thing is you always hear Floyd say what? You might be faster than me. You might be stronger than me, right? A fighter could be this, right? But none of them ain't smarter than me. And this right here is the most powerful tool in your body. And this is why when you look at Floyd's career and you look at Roy Jones's career. Now, if you more concerned about having a beautiful highlight reel, I mean, hell, Vince Carter, you could put a Vince Carter highlight reel together and you be like, yo, this dude was dunking on everybody. How many rings does Vince have? How many times, how many championship playoffs? I mean, how many times can Vince Carter say he was an NBA champion? How many times, you take all other accolades, going to the All-Star game or, all these other, this amount of points, that, whatever. Bottom line is Vince Carter was never, ever considered the best player in the NBA at no point in his career. Always he's considered one of, but he was never considered the very best. Now, what I'm saying is, if you put a highlight package together, Vince Carter would be up there top 3 as far as like dunks and all yeah. Well, what would you rather be in? The situation of winning and being champion or just being a part of a team that have, I just got great highlight reels. I don't give a shit. If your highlight reels are more impressive than mine to people, but I'm winning, that's what's more important to me, right? So when Roy Jones is saying things like, he has a problem with Floyd saying that he's 50-0, that makes him the best. It's not 50-0. If Floyd was 38-0, Floyd would still think he's the best. He would still think he's TBE. It's not because he's 50-0. You understand what I'm saying? And the fact that Roy brings this up every time somebody asks him that question, at some point you just say, look, Floyd earned his spot where he is, man. He did what he did his way, and he did it right. And you got to give him props, man. That's that. Anybody else, what would Roy say? You're supposed to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Well, how you going to feel somebody could beat you or somebody's better than you? So why is it any different with Floyd? See, and this is my thing. If Roy Jones was undefeated, that's why I had to bring up the video I did before when he fought that fan. It's like you fought a dude that nobody knew, ever heard of, and wasn't even a boxer, right? So how could you be against Floyd fighting Conor McGregor for $300 million, and that sealed the deal on his active boxing career, and he went out 50-0 instead of you just saying, hey man, he did it? You can't respect that. What if Floyd fought a guy? What if Floyd would have fought a guy like that and said, for $100,000, if you can beat me, you get $100,000, right? What if Floyd would have did that? Do you think that the people that's praising, Roy, what they're saying is, yo, that was an amazing thing Roy did for that kid. This kid's never going to forget this. It's like you guys are just stuck in fanboy mode. Y'all don't even understand. If Floyd had done that same thing, people would be all over that. Oh, man, who is this motherfucker? Why? Floyd fight guys right now, sparring. You know what they're getting? In these exhibitions, and they're getting a whole lot more than $100K. And this is what people are not understanding. So the camouflage of saying, and let's say that that's what Roy was really doing. I'm just trying to look out for this kid. It's more than that, man. You think this? I'm just gonna go get in shape to fight just somebody that's considered nobody in the sport, and we're gonna put $100K on the line. Just saying, man. Look at what Floyd is doing right now. What fighter do you think comes into this sport just to end up broke? What fighter? See, it's a difference when you fight just because you want to versus you have to, because this is all I have. And commentary is not going to give me the kind of money I need. And every time you hear these videos, people talking about Floyd broke, that's why he's still fighting and all. And it's like people want to believe this nonsense. They cling on to it and they start spreading it. And then all of a sudden, Floyd just bought a brand new mansion. Look, on the business side of things, I remember when Roy Jones and Michael Jordan was working together. Him and Nike, he was working with Nike. And, this was when Floyd was on a high. When Roy was on a high. And no matter what Roy has done, let's look at it like this. When he breaks down his career, he tells everybody his toughest opponent was James Toney. And if he talks about that fight, and he talks about beating John Ruiz at heavyweight. Nobody in history ever did that. Only one man before me did that. And he always bring, why? Because that's really his claim to fame. Now, the Virgil Hill fight, the body shot. He's done some things in the ring, but in terms of quality opponents and being looked at as, the best to ever do it, he's looked at as one of the best. And I'm sure there's people that feel like he was the very best at one point. Roy was a bad dude. But Roy bring up, if you ask him, it's always like his biggest accomplishments. You can't say just to what's, even if Floyd has so much more in his arsenal and to his accolades, to where this is the 50-0 effect, man. You can't take nothing away that what Roy did. And this is not about taking anything away. But here's where people frown up on Roy's talk about, beating John Ruiz as heavyweight. Yes, it's an accomplishment. Yes, Roy was so small compared to John Ruiz that, hey, a lot of times, size alone, guys, you can be too big. And it's an accomplishment. But at the same time, people could say, and they have said, man, it's not like he beat Lennox Lewis or Ike Ibeabuchi or somebody like that. He didn't beat David Tua. And he went in there and fought John Ruiz. See, the target was Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson was supposedly retired at that time. All right? So, at the end of the day, I don't knock Roy for fighting John Ruiz. I commend him for going in there and handling business. And he went in there and did his job well. But you understand my point. It's not like he went and beat the best heavyweight that was out there. There was plenty of guys that was way better than John Ruiz. And Roy knows he's not a heavyweight. Now, think about Floyd. Floyd was beating motherfuckers. Everybody kept saying this guy gonna beat Floyd, that guy gonna. Floyd beat them. And what happens? They start talking about Floyd should go up and fight Gennady Golovkin. Oh, he should go up to light heavyweight and fight Andre Ward. This is how the hatred was so deep that people are saying Floyd should go fight guys 3, 4, 5 weight divisions heavier than him, right? Now, think about this. How many times have you ever heard somebody say Pacquiao should fight Canelo? Pacquiao should fight Gennady Golovkin. Pacquiao should fight Andre Ward. What y'all should have really been saying is, why don't Canelo fight Andre Ward? Why don't Gennady Golovkin fight Andre Ward? But this is what I'm saying. So when you're that good that they have to start trying to find people way bigger than you, that's the point of I don't care if they win only because they're too big. I just want somebody to beat them. And they feel like that's the best chance that you had to beat Floyd. It's just have to be too big. Because skill for skill, come on. Even Bernard Hopkins is talking about he can get down to 147 to fight Floyd. I'm like, man, get your money hungry ass out of here. Bernard, the funny thing about it is when Floyd, everything that Floyd was doing, the fact that Roy Jones was fighting as a pro years before Floyd was. So let's look at this. It's like if you even compare Michael Jordan to LeBron. People talking about, like a couple of weeks ago, what is it? Somebody was saying, LeBron is on the way to breaking one of Michael Jordan records, right? Here's the funny thing about it. All of Mike's stats, everything he did it in a 13-year span. LeBron is on year 20 and still trying to catch up with Jordan stats. So only the blind if and when he catches these, certain stats or whatever, is going to say, yo, he passed Jordan. He's the GOAT, which I could care less about that. They don't have the common sense to say, well, hold up, though, man. You got to look at this shit, man. It took LeBron 20 years. That's 7 years more than Jordan did in 13. It took him 20. I mean, so in other words, if Kobe, LeBron, any of them stopped at 13 years, they wouldn't have even been close to catching Michael Jordan's stats. So do you understand what I'm saying? This is how ignorant people are. So when I look at Roy's career and I look at Floyd's career, and I was here for both. So I'm not new to it. I know what was going on. These are two guys that I was rooting for, like I said before, no matter who they fought. I never compared them to each other as fighters because they're in two different weight classes. And it's like, why? For what? But to sit and just look at who's who, it's like, bro, if you listen to every fighter talk, they're still pound for pound the best fighter in the world. I'm still the same fighter I always was. I feel like I don't get my props. I'm better than this guy, and this guy, right? Out of everything they say, if you was to say, okay, so explain the 8 losses. Okay, explain the 11 losses. Okay, explain the 15 losses. Like what happened? Is always going to be an excuse. Only when it comes to Floyd, you hear people say being undefeated doesn't mean everything. But when Tyson Fury was priding himself in it, when all these other fighters was priding themselves in it, it's funny how they all had the same mentality until they finally lost. And what I'm saying is, Roy tasted his first loss, which that was a bullshit loss, but against Montel Griffin, way before he didn't see that shit coming. But when he did finally lose, and really lose by getting beat, it was in a rematch with Antonio Tarver, the second fight. And then from there, it was just all downhill, man. Because the wins that he had I said in fairness, if he loses to a journeyman, you guys are going to laugh and talk. But if he wins against a journeyman, you say it doesn't matter. Don't act like Roy wasn't getting his share of criticism. And he fought way past his prime. And when you look at the direction that Roy Jones' career went into, this is exactly the point of what I'm saying. No matter how you saw your career, no matter how you envisioned it, when it took those twists and turns, and now somebody came up behind you, past you, kept going, and never stopped until they was ready. And see, this is where people don't understand this. When he bring up James Toney, when he bring up John Ruiz, doesn't matter. He had to go all the way up to heavyweight to get, what he got, $10 million for that fight? He had to go all the way up to heavyweight to do that. Floyd was doing that at 147 already. You see what I'm saying to you? And no matter what those accomplishments were, his accomplishments are overshadowed by Floyd's accomplishments. Roy Jones' ability to fight in the ring, his explosiveness, yeah. Roy was a solid dude. And it's like I said, time and time again, you can't take nothing away from Roy. But yes, there is a jealousy there of Floyd Mayweather doing something that he thought he was going to be the one to do. And Roy for sure thought he was going to retire undefeated. And this is why I said, if you look at things that he's complaining about Floyd, he's done it himself. So that's not only, hypocritical, there's some jealousy attached to that. I'm not making these videos to shame Roy. If I was, I'd just say it. So what? Y'all already know me. But this is just to bring awareness to the truth, to bring the truth out, to have people think and look and realize, yeah, you know what? This is true. This is not me just saying this shit, man. Now, as far as my opinions go, my opinions are always based on the truth. But look at the actions, right? Look at what happens, okay? Somebody come home, their window's broken, all of a sudden their donuts is fucking taken and they shine a light and your ass in there with a handful of donuts and cream all over your mouth. I ain't take nothing. I ain't do it. Right. You understand what I'm saying? The truth is the truth. And that's what I care about. I don't care about people's opinions. My whole thing is, if I'm telling you something, right? And I remember the times. So even when something is said and years go by, people don't remember. and they just go with whatever is said. Bullshit. When Roy Jones was talking about Errol Spence Jr., and I told you guys, I said when he said him beating, uh, who did he beat? Garcia. Who did he fight? That came up in weight to fight him. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And Roy was saying that don't count because that guy was too small. He's not a natural welterweight. I remember I said, Roy, that is so hypocritical for you to say, because you fought Vinny Pazienza, who came all the way from lightweight, came up and fought you, and all after he broke his neck and was told he probably never fight again. And you fought this little dude. Have you ever once heard Roy Jones say, I don't take credit for that Vinny Pazienza win because, hey man, this guy wasn't a natural middleweight? No. You know what he says? Hey man, he wanted it. Hey, can get it, man. I'm saying I don't duck nobody. So why don't you give Errol Spence credit for fighting the guy that moved up in weight? You don't take credit away from yourself for fighting Vinny Pazienza. See, and these are facts, man. This is not me just saying this shit. This is facts. So you can't be against somebody doing something and then they say, yeah, but I got to see him beat a natural welterweight. Roy, for that matter, anybody that beat you, that then they're gonna say, well, Antonio, in fairness, Roy came up from middleweight, so your victory don't matter. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you can't sit up and say, and first of all, let me also say, to make this clear, the bigger guy isn't necessarily the threat that you think he is. The bigger guy doesn't always win. That's why I said even look at the heavyweight division. When you got guys, and I'm like people talking about the size of these fighters, I'm like, man, you better look at the size of some of these fighters that Mike Tyson destroyed. They make it seem like Mike Tyson didn't come up in that Joe Louis Marciano era where the heavyweights was 188 pounds and all that. Nah, Mike was 2-something, and everybody he fought was 2-something. Mike fought some dude that was 250, 260, big, tall dudes and all of that. Holmes fought, big, tall dudes and all of that. Ernie Terrell was 6'6". Ali fought him like, and people just be saying things. And I'm like, man, listen, yeah, you might have, like, the 90s era heavyweights, you had these big 260, 250, 240. Okay, so what? Y'all forget little Evander Holyfield was in there fighting these giants and beating them as well? So why the hell Ali couldn't? Evander wasn't bigger than Ali. I don't even think Evander was stronger than Ali. He might have been, as far as, he probably could lift more weight than Ali or something, but Evander's muscles ain't from like he's somebody, but no, he just basically, it's the way he work out and the dieting and all that. But I don't even think he's stronger than Ali, to be honest with you. Just like Usyk, too small. Tyson Fury is too big. He's too skilled. He's this, he's that. Look at what happened. Hey, listen. If you also look at this with Floyd, let me get back to this. Roy Jones himself said he like Floyd retired too early. How come you didn't say that to Andre Ward? How come you never said that about Rocky Marciano? Rocky Marciano was 32, he retired. Ward was 34. Why? So Floyd was 38. So how did he retire too soon? But everybody else that did, they didn't. Joe Kawasaki, how old was he when he retired? 36, 37, whatever. But bottom line, under 40 years old. So my whole point with that is it's amazing how everybody else retired at the right time. How can Roy even say that? When Roy Jones himself is one of them fighters that said, can't nobody tell me when to stop fighting except for me, right? So when people saying I should stop fighting, okay, so why the fuck did you see what I'm saying about the hypocrisy? And everything I'm saying, you can look it up yourself. So you got the right to say how long you going to fight, and I agree. But people who just concerned about your health are saying, Roy, you need to call it quits because you was getting knocked the fuck out by dudes that we know you would have obliterated in your prime. But you can say Floyd Mayweather retired too soon. Come on, man. Y'all know what that really is? I wish he would have kept fighting too long, past his prime like me, and somebody clipped him and beat him. That's all it is. They want to see Floyd lose. See, this is the 50 and 0 effect. See, it's more than just a Conor McGregor win. Oh, Conor wasn't no real boxer or whatever. You done fought guys that wasn't real boxers, and it went on your fucking record. See, this is the thing I'm saying. And you wouldn't like it if somebody said, I don't respect that, Roy, because the dude not a real fighter. How the fuck somebody gonna have five amateur fights or some shit like that, and the dude is an MMA fighter and not even good at MMA? But how are you gonna go by that? And you fight a guy like that? So this is why certain fighters ended up their careers ended the way it did. This is why all these guys. When you, like, example, when people call Don King dirty or any other promoter dirty, what are they talking about? Y'all know what they're talking about. They done stole from their damn fighters. Look at Mike Tyson. Don King bought this motherfucker a car with his own money. Y'all proud of that because Mike Tyson don't have a thinking process on his own? That's something to be... No. Oh, Don did him so dirty. Okay. Floyd says, nah, fuck this. These motherfuckers ain't gonna jerk me. Floyd took his career into his own hands and everybody complained. Oh, man, Floyd bad for boxing. Floyd, no. Well, Floyd, the reason everybody... No, Floyd put the work in. Floyd understood this business. Floyd knows what's going on, and Floyd like, nah, I'm not going to end up broke. They're not going to do me like that. Floyd did what he did for himself. The people trying to copy Floyd are not nearly as accomplished as Floyd. Not nearly. So the thing about it is, when you're like fucking 10-0 talking about I want 25 million, boy, who did you beat to get 25 million? Stop. Sit your ass down, man, and earn your stripes. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you can get those fights, cool. No different from Matrimov. People lying, calling him the best fighter at 154. He's the best fighter with 11 pro fights. Now, let's look at, for example, right? Which, by the way, in case y'all don't know, I'm going to save that one for another video. Let me just go this way. The 50 and 0 effect. It bothers people. People try to make you think everybody Rocky Marciano fought with some killer. But Marciano shared his criticism as well. And like they say, his biggest wins came against guys that was old and washed up. Years go by. Next generation, they don't know these things. They just hear things. They read an article in praise of these people, but they don't. So they just repeat what they hear. And whatever they hear is what they go with. They all face their criticisms. Any fucking fighter that retired before 38 years old, they wasn't questioned by the same people. And when I look at Roy, what Roy did in that ring, man, Roy was an entertainer, but he was a solid fighter. But Roy Jones faced his criticism of not having top-level opposition. Roy Jones had people saying that, here's the crazy thing. I heard Emmanuel Stewart commentating a fight. He didn't think Roy Jones was on the same level as Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler. Emmanuel Stewart said that. Okay? But he said he actually thinks Floyd might have been able to beat Marvin Hagler. Robert Garcia said the same thing. Now, out of all the guys I just named, right? Hearns couldn't beat him. Best thing could have happened is he cut him and then the ref stopped it on cuts, but he couldn't beat him. You see what happened? Okay? Leonard beat Hagler. When people compare fighters, they picture how they fight. They picture the fight going a certain way because this guy fought this guy. He fight like him and he did this and that's similar. I don't do that. I look at what you do, how you react to everything. And I also look at what you're not good at. And I look at what fighter is best at making adjustments. And there's nobody in the history of this fucking game of boxing and the sport of boxing that's better at adjusting to opponents than Floyd. So, and I'm not saying I agree with Emmanuel Stewart or not. What I'm saying is that's what he said. Now, out of all people, you think Floyd could have beat Marv, who was a middleweight. See, this is what I'm telling you. People don't like certain people. And they'll shit on them and try to shoot them down. But then when they're talking and they forget to have their haters glasses on, they'll end up saying something to expose. It's just hate that you have. That's why when I told you before, I said, listen when Floyd fought against Victor Ortiz, right? And Ortiz dipped down and banged his fucking head in the air. Now everybody with two good eyes could see he purposely did that to Floyd. Lied talking about, oh, I'm not a dirty fighter. Floyd pulled me in. My momentum brought him in. Everybody saw what he did, man. And then some year later, he admitted that he did it on purpose and said, shit, if I had a chance, I'd do it again. I'd break his jaw next time and all of that. Right. So my thing was, when he did what he did, they made excuses for Victor Ortiz. Go watch, just go back and rewind the fight. Just go to that part and watch, and listen to everything from that point on. Well, he's frustrated, sometimes you got to get rough and, he can't hit him and he's trying to, hey, man, got to take a chance. They're acting like what he did wasn't wrong. Then he stepped there, kept hugging. Cortez backs up. His corner starts talking to him. Victor like a dumbass. Then Floyd is like, right. He walks up and Floyd just bang. It wasn't even a pop. It was bap, bap. Victor goes down. And when he hits him, you hear Emmanuel Stewart go, ah. Emmanuel Stewart wanted Floyd to lose that fight. Emmanuel Stewart didn't like Floyd. Let's just say it like it is. And he always tried to find a way to try to take Floyd's light away. And I'm like, just like Emmanuel Stewart, just like Teddy Atlas and any other fucking commentator, I've heard them wrong more than I've heard them right in their predictions. And when it came to Floyd, it's their hatred for him that made them take credit from him. You can't take credit from him. And it makes no sense. Like I tell people, you explain to me how, if it's Roy Jones, if it's Ali, if it's Ray Robinson, if it's Ray Leonard, if it's Hagler, if it's Duran, I don't care who it is. If these guys were on this plateau you put them on, why did these guys not be seen by networks and anybody else the way Floyd was seen? And if you're going to say, well, it's because of the entertainment value. You see, Floyd, listen, there's a lot of fighters that talk shit. Mitch Green was one of the biggest shit talkers of all time. Okay? Why were these guys not put in that same situation as Floyd? Why wasn't Pacquiao put in that same situation? All Floyd did was come up with a business proposition. That's all. Showtime, HBO said no. Showtime said, come on in, brother. We got you. And I watched, like I said, I talked about this before. I watched Max Kellerman. What's the other dude? Jim Lampley. Yeah, they had the former cast of HBO, the cast of HBO sitting around talking about how Showtime's going to fall flat on their faces. They're going to go bankrupt because of Floyd. Floyd's not worth it, blah, blah, blah. Boy, were they wrong. This was all hatred. This was all hatred, man. So when you have the Pacquiaos, the Canelos of the world, all these other people that Floyd already beat, but try to put them on pedestals. Canelo was sitting here talking about now, one of the people he definitely wanted to fight. This out of every opponent, who you want to fight the most, he's talking about Floyd. Even right now, Floyd. Okay. He wants so bad to be able to try to at least try to avenge his loss, but what weight class is this going to happen at? Is Floyd supposedly balloon up to 168? Like, you understand what I'm saying? But you don't want to fight Bivol. You don't want to fight Benavidez. You want to fight somebody that beats you that's now 47. You see what I'm saying? Floyd's name is still ringing bells. Who was Roy Jones talking about fighting? Jake Paul. I want to test his chin. This is why I say when you get to a certain stage in your life, certain things you don't even talk about as much as you used to or the same way. Because you go, you know what? Nah. That is what it is. It is what it is. That's that, right? That ship has sailed. We on to something else. Anytime you say somebody's good at something, Roy Jones' compliments to Floyd is like somebody saying, oh, you look good for your age. Or, oh, I love the outfit, but you should have wore the other shoe. See, I think that it's always, it got to be some type of criticism. Listen to Roy talk about his own career, and Roy will talk to you like he did everything the way he was supposed to do it, right? When they asked Roy if you could do anything over again, what would it be? Roy says nothing. Okay. So you telling me that if you could do it over again, you wouldn't have not hit Montel Griffin when he was down? If you could do it over again, you would have not have slipped that uppercut. that you know that I mean that straight that straight from Tarver that dropped you. You can't do it over again. So it's one of them. If you, it's a waste of time even talking about it, right? I can't do it over. But to say I wouldn't, everything happened for a reason. That's all that mind fuckery that they do to themselves, man. That 50 and 0 effect is real. Let me tell y'all, man. I've never seen any fighter, you know, even like when Prince Nassim Hamed retired, man, this dude had a couple of mishaps, you know, outside of the ring, and all of this led him to just retire, man. See, that shows you when these guys walk away, they don't have it in them. See, you have that extra, I'll go that mile. When you think I won't, but I will. You see what I'm saying? And when you're just so much better than everybody, and I view Roy like that. Roy was just so much better than all those other dudes that he made them look like they wasn't that good. But in terms of great opponents and all, you see, this is what I'm saying. He don't stack up to Floyd. And then when you sit up and look at what Roy doing, what he's doing right now, the toll that boxing and whatever has had on his body, his knees and all that, and when you look at his style, right? People say shit like, Floyd ain't never fought nobody like Roy. Roy ain't never fought nobody like Floyd. I mean, it's crazy when I hear this. And I'm saying, look, if you have two sons, right? They both do the same thing. But one is clearly better than the other. It's not about comparing. It's going to be different. This is your sons. But do you not tell your son what he need to work on and help him work with that? Or do you lie to him and tell him he's equally as good just to try to make him feel better, but he's not? And he's trying to figure out, how come I keep winning and I keep losing and my brother keeps winning? Because the truth, even if a person don't like it, they should appreciate it. Immaturity will cause a person to not understand it and appreciate it. But at some point, you gotta realize, nah, man, he's only telling me the truth. Because if I'm telling you you're as good as this person, you're not. I'm not helping you. For a man to have to go from 175 pounds to heavyweight, and I think Roy said he was 203 and fight night he was 199, right? Or 193. No, 193 or something like that. He really even won. He was like, came in. I think they said he was 199. Then he dropped down to 193. Okay. You can't take nothing away from that. But my point, if you took the biggest things Floyd did in his career and the biggest things Roy did, bro, this is what I'm saying. It's not just the who's who on the record. You can't. And this is what I'm saying. Unless Roy bring it up, or somebody who really, really likes Roy the boxing world isn't talking about Roy versus John Ruiz. You understand what I'm saying? They're not talking about him and James today. These are things that people have to bring up. Roy was a great fighter. But Floyd is still relevant, even doing exhibitions. Now, you telling me you think Roy Jones would rather be fighting guys in little high school gyms somewhere for $6K? Or you think he'd want to be in a position to get 20-something per fight? Jake Paul, here's the crazy thing, and I'm about to close this video because I got to roll. Jake Paul can sit here and say, man, I ain't never in my life won a title. I ain't need to win no title. I made $40 million fighting Mike Tyson. I make more money than your fucking undisputed champions. I make more money than the pound for pound best fighter in the world, right? I make more money than all their top guys. And here I am, a fucking YouTuber that understands business and how things work and know how to sell myself. And these motherfuckers can't make the type of money I make. Now, lo and behold, who's the one guy who's doing exhibitions that's still making 20-something million per fight? To fight people that we don't even know who they are, but guess what? They're actual fighters. You understand what I'm saying? Regardless to the level, he's doing exhibitions. What was Terrence Crawford's asking price to fight Jerome Boots Ennis? $20 million. Floyd is making that. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what is Roy doing? Right? So when his name comes up, just watch how detailed Roy get when he's telling you about how he felt about this fight, that fight, and how it happened and whatever. And we all saw it when it happened, right? But watch how he gets into it because he wants to really feel it. And then not matter what he does, why nobody's bringing up Sugar Ray Leonard? Who you think would have won between you and Ray Leonard or however, whatever, right? Why do you think, why nobody is bringing up Ali? Why is nobody bringing up Pacquiao? Why is it always every fighter they want to bring up Floyd? So what I'm saying, if you want to measure the impact of somebody's greatness or something, look at how much their name keep getting brought up. Just like they keep bringing up Jordan. I don't care who comes into this league, they keep bringing up Jordan. And Kobe's name don't come up until they get into deep discussion to where they just trying to find every angle, right? LeBron is still active. You understand? But everybody is always Jordan versus everybody. And it's the same thing. Every fighter that looks like they worth a shit, Floyd name comes up. But yeah, that 50-0 effect, it bothers people. And this is what you're witnessing in Roy. He's not going to admit that shit. Well, like he said, like anybody say, why would you tell yourself you couldn't beat somebody or tell yourself you're not the best? If you're not in this to be the best, why you in it? So why do you have such a problem with Floyd being 50-0 saying, and that's the thing. How do you feel about Floyd saying he's the best ever to do it? He's TBE. How you going to be the best when you fight? Oh, right. Somebody can look and say, well, damn, how you going to be the best with 10 losses? Just saying, right? Yo, I went off the heavyweight and fought John before the heavyweight. Yeah, but you fought one of the worst heavyweights there that just happened to have a belt. John Ruiz was trash. Facts. Facts. But I can't take the accomplishment away from Roy because, like I said, Roy's a little dude that went up to heavyweight. And he did it. He accomplished it. John could have won that fight simply for being too big. No different from, Ray Robinson went up, fought a light heavyweight. And, people, but it was so hot under the lights, that his opponent was under them same lights, but just saying he lost, right? So, right, the same way he lost, he could have won, but he didn't. He lost. Roy won. But my point is, people can counter that and say, and they have said it. The night that it happened. Well, it's not like this is Lennox Lewis. They said it during the fight. So this is what I'm saying. For all the accomplishments he's praising himself for, Roy, people already shot that shit down. Now you're trying to do the same thing to Floyd that people have done to you. And the difference is Floyd's relevancy is still potent. It's still potent. Everything that you talk about have to be what you've done already. That's already been surpassed. And there's people, like I said, I put Roy on that top list with pound for pound. I think guys that Roy didn't fight, I think Roy, if he would have fought him, he would have beat him. But bottom line is, that 50-0 in effect is real. And it bothers far more than just Roy. It bothers a lot of people. They don't want to admit to it because they don't have undefeated records. Go tell Andre Ward, just because you undefeated don't mean you one of the all-time greats, and see if he agree with you. Go tell Joe Calzaghe that same thing. Go tell, yeah. So what makes you think, but they're not saying, I don't care what they're not saying. I guarantee you, without saying it, they still put themselves in that upper echelon of top fighters. So what y'all want Floyd to say? And this isn't fuck Floyd, fuck all them motherfuckers, fuck Roy, fuck all of them. I'm not this. This is about the truth. Okay, this is about the truth. None of these fighters or these spectators care about the truth. They just care about what gets attention. We're not here to try to appease people with bullshit. I know there's not a motherfucker on this planet. I don't believe by no chance, unless somebody is mentally ill, don't know how to count money. If somebody said, hey man, listen, go fight this dude, you probably make about, I don't know, maybe 300,000. He probably get about 100,000. Or you go fight this dude, get 300 million. He get about 120 million. Nah, I'll take the 300,000. I don't want to be greedy. The fuck out of here. And bottom line is what I said. I feel strongly that every way, just look at the stuff Roy used to say and how Roy, Roy envisioned himself retiring undefeated. Mr. Untouchable, right? Can't stop, can't move, right here. All of that. And then he got beat. You understand what I'm saying? He done did rap albums, he done did all, and everything he did, he still don't get the attention that Floyd get. And it doesn't make a difference. See, people went from hating Roy to fake loving Roy to appreciating Roy more to try to shit on Floyd, but it don't work. It doesn't work, doesn't matter. And I done seen plenty of pictures of them together chilling and all that. So, you know, you don't have to think he's the best. Nobody has to think nobody's the best. Everything is always going to be subjective. But it doesn't matter what you say. I don't care even if you had more fights altogether, right? But when somebody look and say 76 wins, 76 fights, 66 wins, 47 knockouts, 10 losses versus a perfect 50-0. If you look at both records, that 50-0 is going to get all the attention. Pretty much. They're going to get all the attention. Then let me go see this other guy who had all these fights and losses. And you understand what I'm saying? Nobody's going to sit there. But by this time, no. Like I said, when Floyd was 36, he was in his schooling, Canelo Alvarez. When Roy was 36, he was in there, barely winning against Antonio Tarver because of the weight drain. Then the second fight, he was getting knocked out by Antonio Tarver. And you take any part of their career, Floyd never fell off. And when Roy fell off, he fell off bad, never bounced back. That hard work and dedication is real. That 50-0 effect is real. That's all I got for y'all right now. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.